145. Ghedovini also hasn't jumped, so we'll work out exactly what's going on in a moment's time as we focus now on this first heat of the men's 800. So Simone Barontini of Italy on the outside. This is Andreas Kramer. That silver 4 years ago. The Swedish record holder, 144 this year. Muzinovic of Bosnia, Toile of France, Christoph Kessler of Germany, improved to 145.27. Big applause there from the crowd. And a man in an Italian vest as well. I wonder if he has Barontini on the other side of that cardboard banner. Daniel Huller of Hungary, Thibaut de Smet of Belgium, and then Jake Whiteman. Well, he said that despite winning the World 1500 title, that's generally been his main event of the last few years, he still wants to be considered an 800 runner too. A middle distance man in the fuller sense. Jeff Whiteman was the stadium announcer in Eugene. Not so here, but Jake was joking that he'll be getting on his nerves as a coach instead. Whiteman, de Smet, Huller, Kessler, Tual, Mujezinovic, Kramer and Barontini in this first heat. So top 3 going through automatically, and then 4-time qualifiers across those 4 heats. So Jake Whiteman, outstanding kick in Eugene, and afterwards beating Jakob Ingebrigtsen, saying that he expected Ingebrigtsen to come through. The Norwegian made a remark afterwards that he was beaten by a worse runner, and tried to speak to the Norwegians to get an idea of what kind of context that was said in. Whiteman said that yes, probably most of the year he appears to be the worst runner, but when it came down to it on the day, he was in front of the Norwegian. It was fantastic, of course, in the men's 5,000 meter final. Kramer leads this one out in 51.53. The Swede mentioned sometimes that he appears to be off colour, but strong here. We'll wait and see how he times this last lap and whether he has enough to hold on. Barontini, one of a big group of middle distance running Italians, looking very strong over the last couple of years. Gabriel Tual, maybe not as quick as his teammates Robert, but still a medal contender. Jake Whiteman now on the outside in a good position. Kramer there, trying to focus. Will he have enough to be in the top 3? Whiteman comes through, and Tual, and Barontini. De Smet also overtaking the Swedes. Oh, that's so close. Kramer just running out of steam after being the leader in the early stages. Time for Whiteman, 1:45.94, so job done from his point of view. And Tual also looking pretty solid, the man who's hoping to go higher than the 6th and 7th he's achieved at the previous 2 editions of these championships.
Well, that was a super quick time there from Whiteman and Barontini. Anything under 1:46 at this stage in the championships is very quick running indeed. It was set up by Kramer with that thrilling first lap of 51.53. When that time came up, I thought that is very, very quick indeed. And I have to look back, I think that's probably amongst one of the fastest heats we've ever seen at a European Championships, when there's been 3 rounds contested. I mean, that was Kramer who made it quick. He's doing his traditional job of front running, but then just gets swallowed up as the likes of Barontini, Tual and Jack Whiteman start getting into gear and going through really getting the legs shifting there. I wouldn't be at all surprised. Well, we're due 4 fastest non-automatic qualifiers from these 4 first rounds races, and I wouldn't be at all surprised if several of them come through from that heat, because normally it's around a 1:47, 1:48 at this stage in the competition. Here it's a 1:45. So Kramer and De Smet both running 1:46. I bet they were wondering what had happened there, because normally that would have been more than sufficient to see them through. So a terrific start to the men's first round 800 meters.
Yeah, still might be good enough to...
Just about to start, just looking at that long shot, but also just about to start is the men's 800 meters second heat. This first round.
We are about to start with the women's javelin throw qualification Group B. Auch hier gilt es 61 Meter zu schlagen. Wir haben einige Athletinnen in dieser Gruppe dabei, die das in jedem Fall direkt abhaken wollen.
So we're just looking at Reuter. He's on the outside, but this is a very good heat indeed. Former World Championship medalist Amel Tuka in lane 6 from Bosnia and Herzegovina. Benjamin Robert, very fast finishing Frenchman in lane 4. Just a couple of the names to pick out. We also have the former European Championship medalist Mark English from Ireland. So it's Mark Reuter on the outside. Run inside 1:46 this season, 1:45.94, best of 1:44.71. I'm going to pick out, I thought we might pick out Diariba. It's just Benjamin Robert, who had that terrific run at the Paris Diamond League, worked his way through all the traffic at the front end, came away with a personal best of 1:43.75. Here's Mark English. Well, English took a medal back in 2014 when we had the championships in Zurich. Been around for a long time. And Lewalski on the inside. But I'll give you the full lineup. Just picking out one or two of the runners. So from the inside, it's Lewalski of Poland, Vukovic of Slovenia, English of Ireland, Robert France, Diariba of Spain, Tuka of Bosnia, Rowden of Britain, and Reuter of Germany, the hosts, and the country that's topping the medal table at the moment after 3 days of competition. Well, they break after 150 meters, and they're just looking for good position. Tight at the front there. Mark English looking boxed at the moment, trying to find a way through. It's Rowden and Robert at the front. Out on the outside, Tuka in the yellow vest of Bosnia and Herzegovina. Diariba not showing at the moment, just content to stay quietly on the curb, expecting that a gap will open up. Much slower than the first heat, 54.32. So 2.5 seconds slower than the first heat. Robert and Rowden at the front at the moment. It's English just behind them. Slovenia and Vukovic now starting to drift off the back, as is Lewalski, the Pole. Oh, just as I say that, the Slovenian trying to get back into contention, coming up the long way round. But it's English now who's hit the front with 200 meters to go, coming into the bend. Robert up on the shoulder of English. Rowden working very hard to keep in contact. Robert just having time to look round over his left shoulder. Rowden looking very confident indeed coming in. Amel Tuka struggling down the home straight. He's battling for that third automatic qualifying spot. It could be that the former World Championship medalist and European Championship medalist is run out of this. 1:47.54. So that's 1.5 seconds slower than the first heat. Well, Tuka timed his finishing surge, for which he's so familiar and famous. Just didn't quite time it to perfection, but Mark English, good outing for the Irishman. 1:47.54, no problems for him, Robert and Rowden. All three men looking very comfortable. Diariba also. We'll have to wait and see whether that's good enough to see him through.
So brilliant performance then for Marc English, just ahead of Benjamin Robert. Terrific Frenchman, kind of following in the recent footsteps of Pierre-Ambroise Boss. English here, someone who, while doing athletics, has spent many years studying medicine and was going to focus on athletics full-time a couple of years ago, but because of the COVID pandemic, then got himself stuck into a medical internship. So huge respect for athletes doing that, multitasking, working really hard alongside competing.
And while you were just recapping there, Alex, I just checked down. Isn't going to be quick enough to see either Tuka, a two-time World Championship medalist, or Diariba, who's
heats of the men's 800 metres to come. Once again, top three going through in each heat, and then four-time qualifiers advancing to those semi-finals. Ben Patterson on the outside. Big improvement for him this year. He was part of a historic British 1-2-3 at the European Under-20s, and he said to me recently, I'm 20 years old now, I'll need to achieve something else. I thought, you're only 20, come on. But he did get that Commonwealth medal. Van der Putte of Belgium, Lobles, the Dutchman, Simons of Ireland hoping to follow English through. Patrick Dobek then, someone who was previously known as a 400-metre hurdler, a best of 48.40 until really shining in this event. The Olympic medalist Jonas Rina, he's been the best Finnish 800 runner for some time. On the men's side, Snyder, and then Mariano Garcia, really impressive at the World Indoor Championships. The Spanish team, another one that's pretty tough to get into over 800. So Garcia, Schneider, Rina, Dobek. Well, I'll stop in my tracks there because a recall sound and then the gun goes inside the stadium. So let me tick that off then. We've had a recall in the 800 meters, 5,000 and 10,000.
You're keeping track on it. I think they've actually got a louder recall gun. That sounded like one of those old style 19th century blunderbusses, didn't it? It was just, I mean, usually it's a sort of fairly significant sound, but that ricocheted around.
No rules were broken, green card.
No rules were broken, green card. Thank goodness for that. I don't know what the athletes make of it, but it's a fairly unusual occurrence for them to be recalled in such events. Patrick Dobek there in the centre, Ben Patterson on the outside. Patterson, who recovered from heart surgery a couple of years ago, took a season out and has learned to manage that. Must be really tough to get used to, because sometimes as an athlete, let's say you've got a minor injury and you don't know, is this something I should push through the pain of, or do I need to stop? Plenty of athletes have that, hopefully not too regular occasion, but when it could be something potentially serious like a heart issue, really important to get the right medical advice, and obviously athletes supported by so many people that you don't see, right through from parents to coaches, medical staff, physios and others. So Garcia is going to be the man to lead them out. And Lobles coming through on the outside. So 54.86. So some 3 seconds slower, I make that then. For example, the opening heat led out by Andreas Kramer of Sweden. And these men now know they've got to get a move on. Running 3 abreast. Patterson on the outside. Lobles not able to respond. Visually moving much quicker now. The Irishman now being overtaken by Dobek. Perhaps he's going to have the speed. The man used to running 400 just looks over his shoulder. Right royal battle of the top 3 spots here. Garcia just about going to hold on. So better job than Kramer in that regard. Dobek and Patterson go through automatically. Also through to those semi-finals in 1:47.49. So just a shade quicker than heat number 2, but some way off that rapid heat number 1.
Yes, do you know what that means? At the moment, all 4 fastest non-automatic qualifiers are coming from that first heat. There we can see Dobek, Patterson and Garcia confirm their position in the semi-finals, and Lobles, who you might have expected to have had a good chance of getting through to the semis, run out of it. So at the moment it's De Smet, Kramer, Huller of Hungary and Mijunovic of Bosnia and Herzegovina who have the hot seats. Well, we're not using those very, very picturesque seats for the 800 meters heats. Just use those for the semi-finals. As we look now at the final, Dobek, very impressive run in. Patterson, just wonder how tired he is after his Commonwealth Games exploits. Looks as though he's got plenty in his legs though there. A nice little smile from Dobek. Poles, like the Germans, having a good championships here in Munich. .31 for Kolak. So now we have heat 4 of the men's 800 meters.
Ja, dann sind wir bereit und schauen mal, wer denn hier mit am Start ist, ganz außen auf der Bahn 8. Da steht Mateusz.
Just to pick out a couple of men from this lineup. Adrian Ben, the very good Spaniard. The director likes him as well. Ben, really good under-23 career, starting to mature as a very good athlete. He's run under 1:45 this year.
Dann auf der 5 Geburtstag des Norwegen, auf der 4 Silvia, den Belgier Preston und auf der Bahn 3 Lane 3, Vice Champion at the European Indoor Championship.
Tony Van Diepen as well. Van Diepen likes to run from the front, has improved this year to 1:44.16.
Und dann haben wir noch Tesociano aus Italien auf der Bahn 2. Das ist der abschließende.
So just to give you the full lineup from the inside, it's Catalin Tessianu, now running for Italy, formerly Romanian, Tony Van Diepen, Netherlands, Elliot Creston, Belgium, Tobias Gronstad, Norway, Yanis Mezian of France, Adrian Ben of Spain, and Matusz Borkowski of Poland. Perhaps if there is to be one of the weaker heats, it's going to be this one. We can say that there's one heat that's a bit less loaded. Then 6th at the last World Championships in 2019, 5th at the Olympics last summer. He's the real favourite, I think, for this heat. Now they want to keep this quick at the moment. All those 4 non-automatic qualifiers are coming from the first heat. So we're looking for something perhaps a bit quicker than 54 seconds to give them a fighting chance of getting some of the men who finished behind the 3 automatic qualifiers through. And indeed it is 53.78. So a bit quicker than heats 2 and 3. It's still Creston at the front. Elliot Creston, last year's European under-23 silver medalist, pushing the pace and giving everybody a fighting chance of getting through as a non-automatic qualifier. Borkowski, European under-23 champion, in 2019. A tall pole. It's improved this year to 1:44.79. And Ben at the moment, well, he's not really showing. So it's Van Diepen coming round the outside, the long way round. Ben trying to challenge Creston and Borkowski. Now the two fast finishing men. I was going to say Ben, well, it looks as though Ben just managed to squeeze in, but timed his race very badly. And the plaudits go to Elliot Creston, who took up the running early in the race, drove it from the front, but it's going to be all four men going through from the first heat as the non-automatic qualifiers, and Matas Borkowski's run out of it. So it's going to be Creston, Ben and Van Diepen who go through from this heat, and that's it. Borkowski, despite working so hard off the bend, overtaken by Ben and Van Diepen on the run-in. Creston controlled things from the front.
Yeah, surprise not to see Mateusz Borkowski qualify. Normally such a great finisher, like when he won the European Under-23 title a few years ago. But I suppose, just like the women's 400 metres, we said that when you have such a strong team from one nation, you can't all make it through sometimes, particularly so hotly contested towards the latter stages we've seen all throughout these four heats. Interesting that Van Diepen choosing to run the 800 rather than the 400, over which he's also been really strong. But good finishing speed, as you'd expect from a one-lap runner, just to make it through there. Of course, he won the silver medal at the European Indoors in Poland last year. The Belgians, always so synonymous with 400-meter running, and the Paulet brothers, but Creston started to make a name for himself over 2 laps.
So it's Creston winning that heat in 1:47.41. It was a bit of a quicker first lap, inside 54 seconds, but the pace dropped down the back straight between around 450 and 600 meters, and that really ended up with having the effect of the runners finishing in 4th and lower, not making it through. There's confirmation that super quick first race in the first round of the men's 800 meters. Jake Whiteman, world 1500 meters champion, the fastest qualifier. So from heats 2, 3 and 4, it was just the first 3 men home. And a few men you might have expected to get through being eliminated, not least Amel Tuka, Maciej Borkowski, Alvaro Di Arriba, João Lobles. They'll be left to reflect on whether they got their tactics wrong, how they got